Hi everybody!
Hello!
And welcome back to our YouTube channel. We are, as always, Arne and Carlos, and today we've got more questions to answer. So
you're reading
today I'm reading the questions, and a couple of, a while back anyway, we put a video out asking for people to send us questions. We got over 150 questions, so we're trying to get through the pile as fast as we can, but obviously we can't do them all in an episode, so we're dividing them in different episodes. And we're also taking turns on reading the questions. Last time Arne was reading the questions.
But you're better.
Well, actually, the problem last time was I was struggling because I wanted to see what you were reading. So now I have the paper. Now I'm in control, and here we go.
And I just wait for the question. I'm not looking.
Yeah.
So
and here we go with some
on.
questions. Let's bring them on. So, Krista Welch Chapman would like to know a couple of things concerning our daily life. So she would like to know what a typical day looks like here. She would also like to know what our meals are like and who does the cooking.
I am not doing the cooking. I'm a bad cook. I almost burned the kitchen down once. I was making popcorn.
Yeah, you are a bad cook.
And the old kettle started to burn and I panicked. I didn't put on the lid. He says you should always put on a lid. I didn't. I just grabbed the kettle and I was running outside.
Actually, it was a pan with popcorn.
Yeah, with popcorn, and I burned both my hands.
Second-degree burns.
Second degree, and I had to go to the doctor, and I had all these wrappings, but I said, please wrap my hands up so I can hold the pencil, because at that time we were making a lot of drawings for collections. So I'm not a cook.
Well, at least you're not allowed to do popcorn, that's for sure.
I do boil water for tea, and I can do instant noodles.
Yeah. That you do very well.
I'm good.
And coffee.
And coffee.
And I do all the other cooking. We enjoy all kinds of food. Arne's favorite is anything with spaghetti or noodles. So Italian and Chinese, which are some of the best food you can get anyway. So we do a lot of that. I do a lot of fish. I love fish.
And people say it's not healthy to eat pasta, but in my theory is that you become what you eat. So if you eat skinny pasta, you get skinny.
Okay.
If you eat like those that's wrapped, like the what that's called, those squares with a lot of stuff inside.
Oh, ravioli.
That's probably fattening.
Okay, because
but skinny pasta is you become what you eat.
Okay, yeah. So eat skinny pasta.
Skinny pasta.
How about pizza then?
No, I don't like pizza.
Because. Does it make
I don't like it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so anyway, lots of pasta.
If it's skinny, it's probably good.
Yeah, okay. Pasta, noodles. I do a lot of fish, salmon, seafood. In the summers, we love barbecues. I mean, who doesn't love putting on the barbecue and slapping on some shrimps or some chicken or even
vegetables.
A nice steak. So yeah, we're pretty normal. We eat normal food like, yeah.
But he's very good. You do in Norway we have this Friday taco. That's like a thing in Norway. Every Friday people have taco.
Yeah, that's kind of
a tradition. It's not a Mexican taco. It's a Norwegian taco. You know where you have this shell that is like rock, and you put a lot of things inside, like meat and vegetables and things, and then you eat it, and then it all crack up and end up on your plate. So why do you put it in the shell when it's?
Yeah. I do my own version of Friday taco, but here it's a sushi taco.
It has a sushi taco.
I get the nori seaweed, which is dried. I cut it in four.
You do a tutorial on that.
Yeah, I cut that in four, and then I serve rice, I serve salmon, I serve avocado, cucumber, and then everybody gets to make their own. You put the rice in that, and then you put the fish, and then you roll it and you eat it with your hands. So that's my version of the taco. And about our daily life and what our day looks like, it depends on what kind of a day we're having. If we're traveling, doing work abroad, we're working with a very tight schedule where we have to be at certain things at certain hours, meetings, meet and greets, all those kinds of things. So we have a very fixed schedule. If we are here designing for a deadline, we'll be working here in our studio the whole day. for many, many days. Sometimes we work Saturdays and Sundays, and sometimes we don't work on Tuesdays. Sometimes we're not working.
Sometimes Tuesdays is a Sunday.
Yeah, and then we've got periods where we don't work because we're working, but we're not physically working, we're thinking. And those periods we might be, catching up on painting a wall or fixing something that's broken or building a new flower bed. So every day is different. Yeah. So every day is different here in our life. We don't have a 9-to-5 job. And we're very happy that we can control our time ourselves.
But it's easier to work in winter.
Definitely easier to work in
summer.
Winter.
It's almost impossible to work because it's not dark in the nights, and the garden is.
But then again, in summer we have longer days because we don't need to sleep as much.
We sleep more in.
So we maybe in the summer we sleep for 4-5 hours, and the rest of the time we're actually being productive. So anyway, every day is different, and we love it. That it's like that. So Deb Meyer asks us a question. She'd like to know if we do some type of craft every day. Yeah, basically every day. And then we've got.
Remember if we had one day without doing it.
Well, maybe. Oh yeah, maybe no, because if we have one of those days where we watch a lot of TV, we'll still do something in front of the TV.
Because if not, we fall asleep.
Fall asleep.
I fall asleep. So.
Yeah. Okay, so Janine Gunn has a question that I'm going to answer. She would like to know, after high school, what degrees and diplomas did you folks pursue and where? So I have an academic degree. I studied at Lund University in Sweden, a degree in political science, and I also studied Mandarin Chinese. So that's my degree. Arne has a degree from the School of Design in Oslo, and where he spent 3 years. So you have a bachelor's degree in that, and then you actually went on to work for the school and educate people in fashion design for a few years as well.
I was a teacher for 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
In pattern constructions for women's wear and menswear, and then I was a
fashion
design teacher for 3 years.
Yeah. And both of these are secondary higher educations.
Yeah. And then I have a lot of other things.
Yeah. But I just wanted to say
it takes
quickly,
forever
because otherwise it takes forever. Yeah. But you have some university studies as well, and then a lot of other things. And it's good for our profession because we do work full-time as professional designers. We have been doing so for 16 years and full-time living off our profession. And it's good to have all these different backgrounds. You need to know a lot about what's going on in the world, and you need to do a lot of the practical stuff with design as well.
I started to focus on knit in 2006.
Yes. Okay.
That's a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. We're getting old.
12 years already.
Next question is from MN. Letter M, letter N. So.
Is that my sister?
Yeah, it's your sister's initials. Yeah, it could be. Oh. Well, she's actually, if it is your sister...
She's good in English.
Yeah, she writes, "Hi Arne and Carlos. I wanted to know how Arne learned such good English. Arne, you have said your English isn't too good, but I find that it is excellent. So I was wondering how you learned it. Is English taught in school, or did you learn it later, or did Carlos teach you?" And MN is actually Mary from South Florida. There you go.
Hi, Mary. I learned a lot of English from Carlos.
But I haven't taught you.
No, we learn English from, I think, is it 3rd grade?
I think they've actually,
or 4th grade,
I think nowadays it's probably from 1st grade.
You learn English early. Now it's 1st grade already. When I was a kid, it was maybe 3rd grade or so. I don't remember. But you learn English in school.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with the fact that we are in a part of the world where not many people speak our language. We are 5 million here in Norway, a little bit more than 5 million people who speak Norwegian. In Sweden, there's, I think, about a little bit more than 9 million people that speak Swedish. Denmark has, 3-4 million who speak Danish. And so tiny little countries with not a lot of population, we are forced to learn foreign languages. And so in Scandinavia, we start learning very young, from 1st grade. And also another thing, all our TV is with subtitles. So we always listen to the original language. And because a lot of the TV shows are in English, we get to listen to English language as well. So if you come to Scandinavia, most people will be able to speak English without any problems. Older generations will struggle a little bit more, but everybody who was born after 1960 should be able to speak good English for sure. And it's kind of the same, I suppose, if you are in Holland, Belgium, you know, countries like that where we don't have a big language like English or French or German. We do need to learn foreign languages.
But when I was in school, you could choose also when you came to, was it 7th or 8th grade, you could choose a third language. So I had German for 1 year.
I never studied German.
You could choose between German, French, and Spanish, I think.
Yeah.
So.
And I spoke French already, so I thought it would be clever of me in high school to do French because I already spoke it. And so I could actually put more effort into studying other things. And then the French was just something that I did.
And we have a friend from France. She stayed in Norway for like 10 years or something. And she didn't learn, I guess she learned 2 words. Because everybody spoke English.
She learned how to ask for a plastic bag in the supermarket.
That's it.
And that's because everybody speaks English here, which is unfair. We should have been more forthcoming with her and told her that you're in Norway now, so you should speak Norwegian.
But we were colleagues in the fashion school, and we spoke English all the time, and together.
And that's a problem. If you're a foreigner coming here and you want to learn Norwegian, it is a problem because so many people speak English, and so But anyway, we do that. We learn from a very young age.
Accent from the Norwegian.
I think your English is great. So let's go for the next question. Pamela Colleen would like to know if we have any cute brothers as well.
Yeah, I have one brother.
You have one brother. I don't.
You want contact? No. He's very bad with emailing.
But he's single.
He's single.
Yeah. And I have 4 sisters and no brothers. Okay, so next question is from Be Seeing You. Be Seeing You has a few questions. What are your favorite TV shows and what's your favorite yarn color? We have talked about our favorite color being one that varies all the time. So let's focus on TV shows. So in our job as designers, we need to know what's going on in the world at all times because we need to know how people think. So TV and trends. So TV shows is something very important for us, and we do watch a lot. We have a lot of shows that we would love to recommend that are really, really great.
Right now we're watching. It's not. There's not a new one right now, but we watched *Handmaid's Tale*.
The *Handmaid's Tale*,
which is so scary and interesting, and we love it.
It's an excellent show. It's very well made,
and the colors and everything is it's kind of beautiful but scary.
It's a very scary show. I
like that one.
I don't like these kind of science. Well, I do like these science fiction movies, but this one is scary because it's something that could happen.
Or it happens some places in the world.
Yeah, and that's terrifying. But it's a really good show. Highly recommended. And then we also have Netflix, and we watched The Crown.
The Crown
Season 1,
beautiful.
Season 2. Amazing. Great acting.
And RuPaul's Drag Race. Love RuPaul's Drag Race. Okay. That is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are some of the current shows, and then of course there's other shows that we've watched in the past.
We watched Downton Abbey, of course.
That was good.
That was so good.
Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black. Ugly Betty. Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
The Nanny. Oh, we can go on and on.
Yeah. But right now we're pretty obsessed with The Handmaid's Tale, and we're looking forward to the upcoming season, which I think.
And there's a new RuPaul coming this month.
Yeah. So we're all set for our TV
she
watching.
Likes nothing. Freya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, shall we go on to the next question?
Next.
Vida de Vigo would like to know what are the steps to become a knit designer?
Yeah. How could we say? Go to fashion school.
Yeah.
You can have the knitwear, the knit specialization. There you can. That's one step.
And then I would suggest, some kind of an education, because it's always good to know a lot of the things you need to learn to have a profession like this. So
it's easy
get
to
an
make,
education.
because it's easy to make a sweater for yourself. You can always design something for you, but if you want to do a collection,
you need to have skills.
It's good to have skills. Also, if you want to make some drawings of knitwear and you want to have a production, you need to know how to put the measurements and how things work. So it's not as easy as...
It's not as easy as people think. You obviously need to have talent as well. That helps. I mean, if you look at what we've done in these 16 years, we've had our own brand that we had until 2010. We've done a lot of freelance designing. Now we do a lot of design work for Regia, Rowan. But, and this is something people don't know, but we have a little business on the side where we work with wines and we design wine labels. We have freelance design for some major sportwear brands in Norway. We have designed knitwear for Urban Outfitters. We have worked with Comme des Garçons. We have designed bicycles. We have designed, well, what else have we done? We've done China, porcelain.
Porcelain?
We've designed for the Arts and Crafts Association. I mean, there's tons of things that we've done. And our career has been pretty much like that for 16 years. We can live off this.
Sometimes I go through all the press clipping that we have. Like in the old days when you could have something was written in the newspapers and you collected it. That time is over.
Yeah.
But like a few years ago, there was a lot. So sometimes I go through those things and suddenly I see things that I forgot that we did.
Yeah, I know.
That is kind of funny. It's
yeah,
like,
I know.
You remember we did this one? It's like...
So yeah, you need some sort of an education, you need to have talent, and of course you need to have a lot of patience because it does take time to break into the industry. And nowadays we stopped doing the fashion because we didn't want to have all the selling to do. At one point when we were doing fashion, and knitwear design professionally, making stuff ready to wear and selling it to stores, we were working a lot with logistics and warehouses and sales, and we wanted to be designers because that's what we are. And so we ended up doing what we do now, which is more freelancing, where we let a company take care of all the marketing and the sales, and we can focus 100% on the stuff that we know we're good at. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. And then, of course, you've got, and I want to mention this as well, you've got Etsy, you've got Ravelry, so it's a great opportunity nowadays that people have in these platforms to publish their own designs. So you can always try that and try putting things out there to get some feedback. And
I think if you want to work as a designer, you should have a designer background.
Yeah, but you can still post things.
You can post stuff like one piece every now and then, but...
And if you get good feedback, it actually is encouraging, and then you could, take it from there and keep developing it, and then maybe look into other possibilities with education.
But that's a different design world compared to making a collection. So it's two different worlds in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's the design teacher that pops out.
I think so.
Okay, I should be quiet.
And then the second question actually works out well in this topic. There's another question. It's from another person, T. Vernon. How long have you been designing together, and who was involved in the industry first? And how did you become designers? So I think we kind of answered most of that. But to sum it up, Arne was in the industry first because he has a degree in design. And after his degree, when he graduated, he was headhunted into the School of Design, where he taught for 4 years as a teacher in design for first-year students and pattern construction for third-year students, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I met Arne when I graduated from my school, my university in Sweden. I don't have a formal design background, but I wanted to do something creative. And
then I had it, but with a teacher job.
Arne didn't want to be a teacher
I was just fed up
anymore.
by teaching people how to be creative.
Yeah, so we decided to start our own brand. And we started our own brand in 2002, and we had pretty much success immediately. And from 2002 to 2010, we made ready-to-wear collections that we showcased in Paris and in New York, and in Copenhagen. Yeah. We were selling
a lot of woven fabrics.
Yeah, and then our knitwear brand was selling in all the best stores in the world, like Liberty's and Harvey Nichols and Barney's and a ton of Japanese stores. And then we got bored of that. We didn't want to have the warehouses. We didn't want to do the marketing and the sales. So we stopped that. And then we went into doing books. And knitwear patterns and all this freelance work that we do for other brands as well, and brand consulting as well, design consulting. So that's pretty much our career summed up in a few words. So Janice asks, or she writes, thanks for your videos. I'd like to hear more about Arne's growing up, knitting, farming. I enjoy when you talk about your holidays and how you celebrate them. Would love to see you show and discuss more of your beautiful house. And would like to see cooking demonstrations. Sorry, I know these aren't all questions. But thank you anyway for all the suggestions. We will take in mind, cooking demonstrations and things like that.
He can do it. You do the cooking.
Yeah. And I think we'll leave all the Arne's growing up, knitting and farming to when we do our slow TV.
Yeah, I can talk about that in the slow TV.
Yeah.
We can do some embroidery or knitting, and I have some new ideas. And then I will talk about my childhood, because it's strange.
Yeah, and because our slow TV has become so popular, we've done like 3 or 4 already, and people love it, and people are asking us not to stop. We will be doing those, at least trying to do it once a month if we can. So every month there will be one slow knitting where we do something from beginning to end and we talk about everything that comes to mind.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So Larissa Radowicz writes that she thinks our sweaters are fab.
Thank you.
And she was wondering if they were old or new designs. I'm taking it's the sweaters that we wore for the video that we did when we encouraged people to send questions to us. I was wearing the Arne Carlos Comme des Garçons sweater.
The Space Invader.
With the Space Invader motif, which we designed for Comme des Garçons in 2008.
2008.
And you were wearing an old vintage sweater that we purchased in Melbourne, Australia.
In a antique store.
In a thrift store.
Thrift store?
Yeah.
That's strange. It's so hard to say.
Thrift store.
So that's from Australia.
It is, yeah. And then she also asks, what made you so interested in knitting and into designing yarn? I think we've answered the knitting part, so let's talk about designing the yarn. We were approached by Regia about designing yarn for them, and it was something we really loved when we got the request, because that's something that was so different for us. We are used to designing clothing. That's what we did for many, many years. And here we were actually designing another product, which was yarn that you could then make into something.
Yeah, and you had to think about what happened in the production when they do the colors.
Yeah.
So when you do the design, you had to think about what's going on in every direction. And that was that was a new thing.
A new way to think.
Because it wouldn't come out exactly as we make the drawings.
Yeah.
It comes out something similar, and that is a challenge.
Yeah, but
it's really fun.
That being said, I think that the sock yarns is one of our easiest projects. We can do that with our eye closed now, because we
know how it works.
Yeah,
and
we're
we
picking
try to
the
stretch
colors.
the limits for what's possible.
And we're always just picking colors, putting colors together, and for us it's super easy. But then again, everything's super easy once you know how to do it. You always need to crack the code. And I think with the yarn, it was more challenging in the beginning. Now we know what we're doing. Now we know how it's made, and now we can just do whatever we want. So
yeah, and the funniest part is like you even have to think about how the yarn look when it's in the ball.
Yeah.
So what you see on the shelves, even that's something you have to think about. So that's interesting.
Yep. Lap Librarian, which is this is obviously a book question. I mean, her name is Lap Librarian after all. Do you have any favorite knitting books? We do. Annika Sibben.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's the old Norwegian book.
Yeah.
From I think we have two.
Well,
one from the 40s and one from the 20s. I think.
Yeah,
They're two different.
The book was published in the 1920s. It's called Old Norwegian Patterns. It is from Anniken Sibben, and it is a book where somebody collected old Norwegian patterns for the first time. It's what I would call our knitting Bible.
Yeah, that's
our
really good. And then we tend to look more in other books than knitting books. When we look for inspiration, we look into art books or folk costumes or different things like that. So not so many knitting books we look at, but that's the favorite.
But we do buy a lot of books. Most of our books are either books on art.
This is art.
Contemporary.
Or gardening. Or
books on gardening, books on art, and we also buy a lot of books on folk costumes, not only Norwegian. If we're in Estonia, we'll get a book on Estonian folk costumes. Go to Japan, we'll get a book on kimonos, and so on, so on. So there's always very many interesting books. And since we write knitting books ourselves, and that is kind of one of the things we do, we don't tend to look much at other kind of knitting books, except for this knitting Bible that was done in the 20s.
And all patterns. We collect all patterns. It's nice to see what people made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and this leads us to another question that kind of, Elizabeth Yeo asks, what are some other interests you do beside knitting, gardening, skiing, snowboarding, and teaching? We don't snowboard, we only ski. And we love art.
We go to galleries and museums.
Yes.
That's almost a hobby.
Yeah, we're very interested in art, contemporary art, but also...
And films also, new movies.
Yeah.
And I think that's something like from the fashion world, when we were in the fashion world, because you had to see what was going on in art, in film, architectural thing. Is it called?
Yeah, architecture.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things you have to see, you have to follow, and that is really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, Freya.
And we tend to go. I mean, that's one of the things. That's two things that we always do when we go traveling. We find the nearest flea markets and we go bananas. Is good. That's number one. And then number two, we visit the major institutions or museums there. And those are the two things that we must do wherever we travel. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the world is full of amazing art and is full of amazing museums. I can mention a few. America has some of the best, by the way. You've got the Metropolitan, you've got the MoMA, you've got Whitney, you've got Metropolitan, MoMA, the Whitney, and the Guggenheim in New York. They're all amazing. I love the Met. I love MoMA.
And the one in Philadelphia?
The one in Philadelphia, the Barnes Foundation, incredible. You've got Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, and then there's the Contemporary Museum in Boston. I mean, loads of museums you've got in Cologne. We were there last year, and we tend to go to Cologne for a trade show in crafts.
We've never seen Cologne, and last year we just walked a little bit and we found
the Ludwig.
The Ludwig, which
is now one of our favorite European museums for modern art. There's also the Tate Modern in London.
And the two we went to in Australia.
Oh yeah, the Ian Modern Foundation and the New South Wales Gallery New South Wales in Sydney.
Did you say the one in New York, the new museum?
The new museum in New York. You've got Louisiana Museum of Modern Art in Denmark.
That's good.
I mean, and not to forget the Munch
Museum in Norway, in Oslo. That's really good. And we're getting a new one.
Yes. So art is very, very important for us. Yeah. And it influences our work a lot.
And the dollhouse thing, that's a hobby for me.
That's a hobby for me.
I love the dollhouse.
Well, I like the dollhouse too.
Yeah.
So shall I do a new question?
And the Beetle.
Oh.
Driving the Beetle.
Your veteran car.
My veteran car. We fixed it. So this summer we will go with the Beetle everywhere. That's a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? You're reading. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's more questions here. There's Elizabeth Yeo is also asking if we have some funny stories about Freya or any mischief that she might have gotten into. She got into trouble. I mean, Freya has been a troublemaker since day one. She is a very dominant dog, so she's very strong. She killed one of the
dolls.
She killed one of our knitted dolls by shaking her to death. And her first spring, she jumped into the ice because...
Yeah, there was a bird on the ice. There was this ice pieces of ice floating around, and there was a bird on one of those small flakes, or what you call it.
Yeah.
And she jumped into the water, And then
I actually got a shock because it was so cold. But she is a poodle, and
she knows how to swim.
They are swimming dogs, so
but now she hates water.
Yeah, she swam ashore and vowed never to get into the water again. So she stays far away from the lake now. But yeah, she's a troublemaker. She's gotten in trouble a lot. But we wouldn't have it any other way. It's her personality, and we love it. Let's see. What other traditional or non-traditional Scandinavian foods are your favorite or least favorite? This is also from Elizabeth Yeo.
I like lutfisk.
Yeah.
Lutfisk.
It's really good.
So good.
And a lot of people in America will say, what? Are they crazy? But we saw this Norwegian reality show where all these Norwegian Americans, they come to Norway and they have a competition, and then the winner gets to meet their relatives. And in this Norwegian reality show, it turned out that these Americans, when they tried lutefisk, they were very surprised
because it was good.
It was completely different from what they get in America. And they said, wow, the lutefisk in Norway is actually really, really good. So I'm thinking that somehow the traditions must have gotten messed up when they went to America, or it changed here in Norway for the better. But lutefisk is really good.
If it's done the proper
way. Yeah.
And fårikål.
Fårikål, that's another one.
Fårikål, that's good.
That's lamb's meat.
And cabbage. And potatoes and pepper. Boiled. Did we answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay. you get one question and we can talk for hours.
I know.
That's the problem.
Okay, here's a fun question. I don't know if we're going to answer it, but Heike Roppertz Tardivat would like to know where Arne gets his glasses and who does Carlos' perfect haircut.
In a store.
Well, yeah, the glasses are from a store, and my hairdresser does my haircut.
And he's good.
Yeah, I like him.
Actually, I had glasses from a flea market in Paris. I found these nice glasses. It was sunglasses.
Yeah.
And I used them for many years. And then my sister's mother-in-law, she had some really bad glasses. She didn't like them. And I thought they were cool, so I changed the glass. You're reading.
Yeah.
But I think we should stop.
Okay.
Because you just feel it's like...
No, we'll do a few more.
One more?
Zizi is asking a question. She says ZZ. ZZ. Yeah, I don't know. So happy to have learned to knit with you, and I love all your videos. My questions are, does Freya like to be outside in the snow, and does she like to wear the sweaters you knit to keep her warm? No, she hates sweaters. She absolutely despises wearing sweaters. She's a dog, and dogs don't have that instinct. And I think that a lot of dogs, when they get dressed up, they feel ashamed. In Freya's case, we have knitted a few sweaters for her. The first time we put a sweater, she refused to move. And then she just collapsed on the floor, and she lied down on the floor and she would not move. And she just hates it. Luckily, she has a lot of fur, so when we go out in the cold, it's okay for her.
She can take a little bit.
Yeah, we have a cream to put on her paws so that she's not going to be cold down here. And then the veterinary told us that, she has fur, so if she doesn't want to wear the sweaters, we can still go out, maybe not for hours, but to do, the basics, 10 minutes.
But if it's really cold,
we force her.
Then we have to carry her out so she can do her stuff, and then...
Yeah, sometimes.
But then if it's too cold, we don't go out either.
No, and we force her. When it's really, really cold, we force her to wear the sweater, which she absolutely hates.
But today the sun is shining. Maybe we should go out and see if she want to go for a ride.
Yeah.
Skiing or something.
Let's see if we can tempt her to go outside. And it's
get
time.
Out.
Yeah, let's get out. And now it's time to finish up this video. We've been talking so much. We hope that you're getting to know us a little bit better. There will be more Q&As coming very soon, so you don't want to miss these. So make sure to subscribe to our videos so that you get that message, telling you that there's a new video up. Mm-hmm. Please subscribe, please like these videos, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.
And look now, Freya, vil du ut? Ut? Ja.